It's Brian Dirks, and he's going to talk to you about Guatemala.
Go, Brian.
So in Guatemala, there was this terrible civil war that went on for 36 years and resulted in the slaughter, would they say, of 200,000 mountain people, Mayan villagers that lived, and a lot of them left their houses as well. So this was one of the victims. His name was Juan. Not really a victim, he was a survivor. He survived because his whole village was slaughtered. The government-backed forces gathered all his villagers, killed everybody. He managed to hide under the bodies and escape that way. So he survived today, has an incredible story to tell. The Western Highlands region is where a lot of this went on. This is where the group that I go with, called Hands for Peacemaking, goes every year, right in the heart of the Civil War area. I've been going down with them. They've been active in Guatemala since 1985. It takes about 2 days to get there from Guatemala City. We go on some pretty rugged and windy roads, across an 11,000-foot pass in the Sierra Madres, highest point in Central America. There's crosses along the way where cars and buses have gone off, so it's not for the faint of heart. Who goes on these trips, these Guatemala trips? Rotarians go. They send teams through Hands for Peacemaking. Faith-based organizations, I go with my church, Marine View Presbyterian in Tacoma. Anybody can go, and I'll introduce you to some of my teammates from last year. This is Tony Trisky. Tony was a professional soccer player. Some of you may remember him from the 1970s, goalkeeper for the Sounders, retired teacher from Charles Wright Academy, went with us last year, and he still got it. He still has the kicks. He was able to show the kids how it's done in the village in Guatemala. This is my brother, Tom, and his son Andy. Tom manages telecommunications for the Costco corporations. Andy is a soccer player himself, is a senior now at West Seattle High School. This is Julie on the left. Julie is a single mother of two. She also has a doctor of pharmacy, works in the corporate world, Johnson & Johnson. Guy on the right is Ed. He's a web developer for Amazon Web Services, and he plays a really mean ukulele. They kept us entertained. A lot of groups go to Guatemala. You hear about service groups going to Guatemala. Very few groups go to where we go. We go to a pretty remote region. And this is where really a lot of need is in Guatemala. So we're happy to go there, but the government ignores them. Children live in poverty in Guatemala. Where we go especially, it's very impoverished. 76% of the population there is impoverished, 35% extreme poverty, and the children are largely malnourished under the age of 5. What do we do there? Some of the teams do water projects. Water's a big need. Some of them build schools. Education's a big need. What we do when we go is we install stoves. Stoves are critical. Stoves are a problem all over the world, and I'll talk about that in the next slide. The problem is that stoves, these traditional cooking methods, basically open pit fires inside of the homes. So they cause that soot on the roof. They cause all kinds of respiratory issues, health issues in children, and also cause environmental issues. The homes that we work in are very small. They're about the size of the tool shed. Most of them have mud floors. You can see the soot on the roof, and so it's really kind of a bad situation. But that's what people live in. We get our stove training in the compound where we first meet. The stoves are also manufactured in Guatemala, so they teach us how to put them together. They teach us about how to install the stovepipe. And then we go off in the villages, which is another rough 3-hour drive away over more bumpy roads. Typically we do 100 stoves. Our team last year, the Marine View team, put in 125 stoves in the space of about 4 days. So we did that. We team up with local villagers, okay, and we Hands for Peacemaking staff. Children in Guatemala, in this particular region, go through school in about the 6th grade. So we bring them gift packs. They include dental supplies, bubbles, jump ropes, all kinds of stuff, school stuff. They're very happy to see it. We also distribute glasses. There's last year we gave about 100 pair of glasses along. You can't imagine, these people have never had glasses before. We bring readers down. So just the look in their eyes when they're getting a pair of glasses, they can thread a needle or read a book for the first time maybe in their lives. They're very grateful. We're also highly welcomed there. We go through a big welcoming ceremony. The children are all asked to repeat our names so they can talk to us throughout the time that we're there. And it's a very welcoming, friendly environment. At the last stop we do another long drive. We go to a tourist area. This is Lake Adelon. It's ringed by volcanoes. We go on zip lines, we do nature walks, we do shopping. And believe me, after being way out in these villages for several days, we need that bit of R&R when we go. Finally, you can support Hands for Peacemaking. We encourage you to do so through the Combined Fund Drive. It's one of the things there. You might consider going yourself. I'm recruiting team members right now. We're going in September. If you go, it could be a life-changing experience for you, and you may just fall in love.